Hey creative, what's up? It's your girl Jamila and welcome back to my laboratory. It's graduation season and I'm so excited to show you guys how you can sublimate on these graduation toppers even if you have a small format printing printer. I'll have everything I use listed in the description box below. And if you like this video, you learned something new, make sure you give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and make sure that bell notifications on so you don't miss any of my upcoming craft tutorials. Alright creative, we're going to start off by making our design and we're going to go ahead and do that in Canva. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and hit create a design, and because we're working with 8.5 by 14 size paper, our graduation top, the capper, is about 9.5 by 9.5, so obviously the paper is too small. So what we're going to do is enter some custom dimensions. So we're going to enter 17 by 14 because we're going to need 2 pieces of paper to sublimate this one topper, right? So 8.5 by 2, 17, and we're going to keep the height as 14, all right? So go ahead and enter that and hit create a new design. Now, if you have a printer that prints bigger than 8.5 by 14, you can skip this step. For your dimensions, you'll go ahead and enter the paper size that you'll be using, okay? But this is for my people who have small printers and think they can't do big projects. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and hit File, View Settings, make sure your Show Guides and Rulers are on, okay? And once you do that, we're just going to go ahead and pull a guide from the side, and we're going to put it in the middle of our paper, right? Or you can pull it from the bottom. Basically, this is just going to help us with our design. This is the split, right? So we're going to design this, and this is just going to, when we do our design, what it's going to look like when we split the print. So if you want to do it from the top, from the side, it doesn't matter however you split it, just whatever is easier for you. So now what I'm going to do, first off, I want to go ahead and go back to File, View Settings, and I'm going to lock this guide so that it doesn't move, okay? So now I'm going to hit R on my keyboard to bring up a square, which is always so crazy to me because shouldn't it be a rectangle? Like, I don't know. But anyway, that's moving on. We're going to use this as a template. So like I said, our capper is about 9.5 by 9.5. So I'm just going to go ahead and stretch this out to those dimensions. Except I do it a little bit bigger because I like to give myself, a little bit of room. So 9.7 is good. So we're going to do 9.7 by 9.7. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and center this. Center the design. So we have our split in the middle. I'm going to change this color to black. And I'm going to lock this square in place so that it doesn't move. Now I'm going to hit the C on the keyboard. Oh, sorry, hold on. Hit the C on the keyboard to bring up a circle because we have that little hole in the middle of the topper, and my circle is about 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to size that down to 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to go to Position. I want it in the center, and then I want it in the middle. And I'm going to change that to 8. And oh my goodness, it looks like a graduation cap. You see how we did that? We just made a template. And I'm going to lock that circle into place as well. But let me temporarily unlock this base layer because I want to rotate it to 45 degrees. So rotate it 45 degrees. And I'm just going to go ahead and lock it back. I can right click it and hit lock. Okay, so now that we have that, we'll go ahead and do our design. So for me, I'm keeping it real simple with this design. Do however you please. So I'm going to take these words that I created. I actually created this in Canva, and I'll just show you how to do it real quick because it does take forever. I go to Elements, and I search Frames. Hit See All. Then I'm going to scroll down until I start seeing the letters. Alright, so I grab all the letters and I basically just spell out the word that I want to use. So once I have all my letters, I go to, well, I stay in elements, and because I just used a bunch of different Canva elements for this, I typed in flames. I went to photos, and I just basically picked out the fire that, I like the most. So I would take that and just drag and drop it. And then you can double click it. Well, double click, there we go. And then you can kind of, crop it a little bit, position it wherever part of this picture that you want to use. I didn't want it all to be uniform, so I would put some in the edge right there. Then for my other letter, I would put it all right there, and that kind of gave me a different effect. Okay, and then this is what I got. So that's how I did that. So just go ahead and delete all that. We don't need it. And degree is, I just used text, but I used the font. Let me see. The font I use for degree is World Series, but I got this from creativefabrica.com. So I'll have the link for that in the description box if you want to go ahead and use this font as well. Okay. And then the font was the World Series, and I made it orange, and then I did the effect and I put neon, so that's why it looks like that. Okay, so now that we got that out the way, I'm going to go ahead and grab me some fire. So I'm going to grab this fire right here, and I don't want this black, so I'm going to go to edit photo, and I'm going to remove that background. Now remember, the remove background feature is a Canva Pro feature, so if you don't have Canva Pro, I will have a free 30-day trial link in the description box of this video. And I'm just going to kind of position it on here. Just like that. Maybe make it a little bigger so it extends to the top. Is covering my words, so I do need to, but I could probably. Alright, so let me right click this, hit layer, and I want them to show me all the layers on this design, so it'll just be easier for me to work with. That is a new Canva feature, by the way, part of Canva's newest update. So shout out to Canva for that, because look how easy that was for me to do that. So I just don't want this flame to kind of overtake my words. Okay, so I have that, and I can also just go ahead and take this and I can duplicate it. Go to flip, and then I can bring it over on the other side. And crop it if I need to. Okay, so now that I have everything, designed how I want, I'm just going to go ahead and unlock this layer. Then I'm going to group everything together. I'm going to drag me a guide from the top, and that's just going to help me make sure that my square is straight when I flip it back. So I'm just going to make sure that it's straight. And yep, it is. Okay, so we have that. So now we're going to go ahead and download this as a PNG to your computer and click the transparent background. Now, if you don't have Canva Pro, you can't use that feature, but you would need to get rid of this background. But if you have Canva Pro, again, it's a part of your Pro package. So again, if you need Canva Pro, I will have a free 30-day trial for you linked in the description box of this video. Now we're going to go over to my second favorite website, which is Pine Tools. So it's pinetools.com. We're going to type in split image. Go ahead and upload the image that we just saved. And over here where it says how do you want to split, however you want. Either you want vertical or horizontal. I just work better with horizontal. And the quantity of blocks, we only need 2. So go ahead and split that. Grab your images. Go back into Canva. Go to the Canva home screen. And this time for your creative design, hit 8.5 by 14. Right? The regular paper size that we were going to be using. Now we're going to import those 2 pictures that we just saved. Now, is this a lot of steps? Yes. Yes, it is. Which is why whenever anybody asks me what kind of printer they should get, I always suggest something that prints up to at least 13 by 19. But I understand that's not in everybody's budget, which is why I'm making this tutorial for you guys. Okay? Because, you know, there's always a workaround. So we have our image, but you see all this blank space right there? We don't want that. So we're going to go ahead and hit edit image. And we're going to crop it. And you want to get as close to the design as possible without actually cutting it off. And I'll leave a little bit of extra wiggle room. Okay? And now, so half of 9.5 is 4.75. So those are, you want it to be, you want your width to be about 4.7. But you know, I like to give a little bit of wiggle room, so I go about 4.9. Then add a page and bring in the other one. And do the same thing. Just crop it as close to it as possible without actually cutting off the image. But give yourself a little bit of extra wiggle room. And I'm just going to do the same thing. Make mine about 4.9. Now what I'm going to do is to make sure that this is correct before we go ahead and print. I'm going to take this page, bring it down here and line these up. So I'm going to select both, hit align elements, and let's line them up at the top. Okay, so you can see right here, these aren't even. So when I go and try and tape them back together, they're not going to line up correctly. So I'm just going to go ahead and fix that. Make whatever adjustments is necessary so that when we try and piece these back together, they fit. So I'm just going to shift it. That actually looks good. The gray is a little bit wonky though. Okay, so when you have both your pieces and they line up like that, make a complete image, you're good to go. So go ahead and put that piece back up there because you need two different papers for it, okay? So put that up there. And at this point in time, if you need to go ahead and mirror your image, do that. Okay? Now you'll save this as a PNG to your computer and go ahead and print. So it'll print out on your sublimation printer. Now I'm not going to go through that process because that looks a little bit different for everybody. But just go ahead and print this out with your sublimation printer. So once everything prints out, we're going to go ahead and trim everything down. I like to use a paper trimmer because it cuts straighter than me, okay? And you want to cut basically all the white off. Get as close to your picture as possible without actually trimming the picture off. So once I cut off one side, I like to do a little test matchup to make sure everything is aligning and that I haven't cut too much off. And if you're enjoying this video so far, if you've learned something new, please give the video a thumbs up, drop a heart in the comment. It just really helps with the YouTube algorithm, letting them know that you guys love my content, and it helps other people find me as well. So once I cut off one side, now one side you're going to cut completely, all the white completely off, right? But then on the other side, you need to leave a tiny bit of the white border on. And that's just so that we can lay the other half of our image on. So it's kind of like giving ourselves like a shelf, to place our paper on, okay? And I say leave just a tiny bit, because if you leave too much when you press, that's where you get that line. Or if you don't leave any at all, you leave a gap, which is another reason why you can get a line in between your design when you press. So just a tiny little bit of a shelf for us to sit our other piece of paper on. And once everything looks good, we're just going to go ahead and take some heat tape and apply half. See, the thicker heat tape works best for this kind of project. So one half of the heat tape is going to be for the right side, and then we're going to put the left side on the other half of the heat tape, okay? Also, guys, if you're watching this video and you're new to sublimation, want to learn more about sublimation, have some questions about sublimation, I highly encourage you to go ahead and join Sublimation Camp. It's a 3-day virtual event. Myself and 18 other creatives have created over 20 videos telling you about the basic of sublimation, like which printers, how to get the best color, ICC profiles, all that good stuff, as well as advanced things. I'm actually hosting a class where I teach you how to do big projects with a small printer. So there's a separate tutorial outside of this one where I show you how to do that. You guys, it's over 20 videos. Like, it's just so much informative, great information, okay? And I will have that linked for you in the description box as well. I promise you'll love it. Go ahead and check it out if you just really want to go ahead and boost your sublimation journey. Because what's the point of scrolling through the internet for hours and hours when you can get all the information you need in one place, right? So anyway, back to the project. So now that we have everything all taped up and it looks great, I'm going to go ahead and grab another piece of heat tape and just secure the back where I have everything taped together, but just making sure that it's taped together all good so it doesn't come apart. And once everything's all taped and secure, I'll go ahead and get an idea of how I want to lay my topper out on top of the image. And you see, guys, how we put two pieces of paper together to create one image, and now it fits our topper. Yay! So that's really the hardest part of the project. So once you done with that, you're in the clear, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and trim off all the extra white. It's not necessary, but I just like to do this step. You can leave it on if you want to. It's not necessary. So on the front, this is the back of the topper. On the front of the topper, which is white, there is a protective film that you need to remove before you press, okay? Remove the film before you press. It's on the white side. Remove it. And I'm just adding a little bit of heat tape to the back to kind of secure my paper in place, because I have to move from my kitchen table to my heat press and I don't want it to shift on me, okay? So once I have all that taped down, I'll go ahead over to my heat press and I'll press at 400 degrees for 60 seconds with some really firm pressure. You want the pressure to be kind of hard. And after that, you guys, this is the scariest part of the whole project. Oh my goodness, the peel. But no reason for me to be nervous because this turned out great. But I will say, this was my second try doing it, okay? So I did mess up one before this. But this is how it turned out, you guys. It looks so freaking good. Oh, and I did forget to mention, watch your fingers when you're touching this, okay? Because your fingerprints will be stuck on it. So when you're doing this, try and use some kind of microfiber towel or something to just kind of keep your fingerprints off of this, because it's super glossy. All right. And then this is how you adhere it to your cap. And you see I'm trying to avoid touching it with my fingertips. You just peel that part off, the 3M sticky part. It's an adhesive. And you just stick it on your cap. And like I said, I mean, it's kind of tricky trying to do this without putting my fingers all over the place, but your fingerprints will be stuck on it. And because this is an adhesive, it really, if they have to turn their tassel, if you put it under here, they won't be able to. So that's another thing to consider if you want to put the tassel on top or underneath, okay? But as you can see, y'all, this turned out great. Everything I used will be listed in the description box of this video. So make sure you go ahead and check it out so you can grab your blanks and anything else that you need. And again, if you enjoyed this video, you learned something new, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know if this is something you'll be trying in the comments. Are there any other graduation tutorials you guys are looking forward to? Don't forget to sign up for Sublimation Camp, okay? Actually, here's a schedule of some of the classes that will be available. And once you have this topper on there, it's not going anywhere. As you can see, it's super sturdy, so you don't have to worry about it falling off on your customer. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you later.